Hi, this is Dave. We got some snow last night. It's reading 27.2 degrees Fahrenheit outside, and so I elected to set up my winter camp setup. I've got my tarp set up. I've got the hammock set up with the wife's hammock as the underquilt, and so I'm going to go ahead and hop inside. I do have the end on the windward side is closed up on it, so it's pretty much like a tent. I've got this end opened up about 1 foot, and inside it's got the spacing at the floor of about 4.5 to 5 feet across and 8 feet long, so about 40 square feet on the inside, plenty of room. So I'm going to go ahead and take that little thermometer inside, and I'm going to hop inside there and give it about 20-30 minutes and see what my body temperature does to warm it up and see how comfortable it can be. Hey, this is Dave. It's autumn in Kentucky, and I wanted to show you how I put up a hammock for cold weather camping. Inside of the rucksack, I packed it in reverse order for the items that I'll be needing. So on the top were the first items that I'll pull, and of course that was going to be my ground tarp, which is a piece of Tyvek, and my hammock ropes for attaching the hammock to the tree, the hammock, and emergency survival blanket, which is Mylar material. I actually have 2 of these. This one is used, so it's just packed up. I have a wool blanket. I have a compressible sleeping bag, and I have another hammock, and then my cover tarp and my ridge line. And I also have a self-inflate 3-inch thick mattress pad. So I'm going to go ahead and string up a hammock here, and just some ropes that I've So the first hammock is hung. The next part that's going to go in is a Mylar blanket, and then on top of the Mylar blanket is going to be the wool blanket. So this is actually going to serve as the underquilt, and the hammock that I have was $40. I bought it online from overstock.com. and it's the equivalent of the Double Eagle. Very comfortable, very durable. I've had it for well over a year. I've used it about 12.5 times, and it shows no sign of wear. I like my hammock strung very tight, and so the same will happen for the underquilt. So the next thing that goes on is the wool blanket. You can use any kind of blanket you want. You can use a quilt or whatever you're willing to carry. I personally prefer wool. It's very warm, and if it does get wet, you can shake it out, snap it, and it dries very, very quickly with body heat. So there's my underquilt, and I'll go ahead and put the next hammock on top of that. Put another Mylar blanket in. Put the self-inflate mattress in. And then put my sleeping roll on top of that. So I've got my tie downs on the tree. I've got two hammocks set up, one inside the other. I put the first hammock up, and then I put a Mylar emergency blanket inside of that hammock. I then put my wool blanket on top of that. Next, I strung a second hammock. I used the same tie downs, so they're the identical hammocks, and they're going to fit just like a glove. Put another emergency blanket down, and then my inflate mattress. And then I need to take a few minutes, and I need to make sure that all the material, because there's 5 layers of it now, that it's all evenly stretched out. So start with your Mylar blanket that is underneath on the first hammock, and just reach in between the layers of material and find that blanket and work it until it's straightened out so it's not bunched up. Do the same thing with your wool blanket or whatever blanket that you're using. Your second hammock is going to automatically stretch. Then go after your second Mylar emergency blanket if you have one or if you choose to use it. And then go after your mattress. Make sure that it's squared away where you want it. The last thing you're going to do is your bedroll. And that's always easy. And you'll fit that around you once you hop up in the hammock. So you just pre-position that where you want it. And in that instance, I just used a regular rain fly for my top tarp. But what I've done on that cause is I've adjusted my rain tarp, and I made my own, and it's significantly larger. It's 12 feet by 16 feet. So when I hang my ridge line for that, it's going to be about 18 inches above my hammock, and the tarp will come all the way to the ground on both sides. That's very low cost. As I mentioned, you can get these hammocks for about $40. There's actually a website that I found called wish.com, and they've actually got a very similar hammock for $18. So if you're on a budget, pick up a couple of hammocks and then use whatever you already have, and you can do some winter camping too. So this is the inside of the configuration of the hammock and tarp. The tarp measures 10.5 feet by 16 feet, and the temperature after 15 minutes inside here is 45.2 degrees. So pretty effective way of camping in cool weather. Super comfortable. I've got full arm's length reach up to the ceiling and plenty of room to the side, so it doesn't feel cramped in here at all. It's actually quite spacious. So if you're considering doing some winter camping, recommend that you take the time to go out and either make a large tarp or see if you can find one. I elected to make one because I don't like the plasticky material rattling around in the wind, and enjoy the outdoors.